Question everything.
Where you felt like you were living in the question mark.
Who am I?
The space of maybe not knowing.
What's important? There were times where this was really beneficial.
What do you want to see in this world?
There were other times as a kid where this seemed like maybe it was not such a great thing.
The answer is in the question. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth Be Told, episode 61. So this month we're talking about living everyday wonder. And so tonight our topic is question everything. So we decided to, each one of us are kind of going to present what this actually means in our life. How does this idea of the question, how does this idea of curiosity, how does it show up in our life? And how can that lead us forward into this idea of personal transformation and global evolution? So sit back and relax. Enjoy another episode of Truth Be Told.
Question everything. I remember very specific moments in my life as a kid questioning everything. I needed to know how everything worked. I would take stuff apart and try and put it back together, sometimes successfully, other times not. But I wanted to know how everything worked. I questioned everything that I saw, tried to get my hands on it and get it into pieces and understand the workings of those things. There were times where this was really beneficial. I learned so much from questioning things. There were other times as a kid where this seemed like maybe it was not such a great thing, because I was also the kid who questioned religion, who questioned life, who questioned why things were the way they were, why life seemed fair here and not fair here, why we went to church, why the person at the front of the sanctuary on Sundays said one thing and looked like they did another. Why our neighbors, because they didn't go to the same church we went to, were doomed to hell. That never made sense to me at all. So I questioned everything. That was not appreciated by a lot of other people. That amount of questioning. We don't like questions. We don't like the uncomfortable feeling of not knowing. We like to, even if it's things we don't enjoy, we like having the comfort of knowing, well, we're going to go to church on Sunday. Did it matter if we actually did those things the rest of the week or not? I don't know. But there was this comfort, apparently. It seemed, from the perspective of a kid, it seemed like whether you did the things the church said or not didn't matter. You just had to go. And so there was this comfort, perceived comfort, group comfort in going. And I questioned, and eventually I was able to question my way out of that. But this idea of questioning everything for us as adults now, there is this element of stepping back for me into that, oh yeah, I used to question these things. And at some point, we learn that questioning things is not appreciated by the rest of the world around us. I think this is a fairly universal experience to some degree or another, where the rest of the world informs us in some way that you're not supposed to question these things. We don't enjoy you questioning the things that seem normal to us, right? We don't enjoy, and I think that's true to some degree for all of us, that the things that appear to be normal in our lives, we don't enjoy having questioned. And yet, when we embrace this idea of questioning everything, it opens up yes, we must step into some discomfort, but it opens up a whole world of greater experience. It opens up a pathway to more of the allness, right? The greater yet to be, that which is ours to create that we haven't experienced yet. And I think that is what's so fascinating about this teaching, about the science of mind, when we step into a new thought teaching, when we first discover this way of thinking, because it is a very different way of thinking than most of us have grown up with. When we embrace that as a possibility, there is this great discomfort. Well, first there's this amazement, this awe of like, I knew it. This had to be true. There had to be something about this that was true. There had to be this greater way of being that wasn't all dogma and doctrine, but was available to us somehow. And so we have that initial awe, and then there comes this uncomfortable period of having to work through then, because we are now finding new ways to look at how life shows up. There is this period of discomfort, of having to kind of root up some of those old thoughts, old beliefs, old ways of being that were the things that brought us that state of perceived normalcy, that which allowed us to feel comfortable, to understand how life worked, even if we didn't like it. And so now we have this teaching that shows us, you know what, you were right. There is a different way, a new way, a better way. Maybe not a new way, new to us, a way that is new to us, a better way of being than the kind of dissatisfied but normalized way of being that we had before maybe finding a teaching like this. And so it is then in this questioning, if we continue questioning and continue working through that discomfort, we actually come out the other side of that discomfort, mostly. There are still times of discomfort of not knowing, but through that questioning of everything, through questioning how life works, through questioning how the things that we used to think showed up this way and that's how it was, how they now show up differently because we see them differently. In doing that, by continuing to question in that way, we actually discover this whole vast experience and a faith to lean into, a trusting of principle to lean into that can only come through questioning everything. And so really, I think we tend to look at philosophies, religions, worldviews as a means of understanding how the world works, because we want that level of comfort, and yet here we are with this worldview that possibly offers more questions than it does answers, and yet probably more freedom than I have found anywhere else. So certainly continue questioning everything and pay attention to what becomes possible when you do that.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah.
I love Google. Like, I look up something every single day, I think. Great to question stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting, like how quickly this topic brought me back to. I kind of just have always thought I'm very analytical, and so things show up in my life, and I'm usually, kind of picking them apart or whatever. But this topic really brought me to like, oh wow, I used to like be in that curious state as a kid, just naturally all the time, and I don't know when that like stopped, but yeah, it was so weird. I can just remember like, we had an old phone that we weren't using anymore, and I got the screwdrivers and pliers out and just started picking it apart, trying to figure out like, how the hell does this electric signal come into the end of this thing and make these things ring? And like, what, And I think the parallels between us as children being naturally curious and someone finding science of mind, or really probably any new thought teaching, anything that makes you think differently, the parallels are just kind of unreal. Like we naturally have this curiosity, I think, when we first come to teaching like this. And we do have that like, wow, initial kind of shock, of like, it's true. It can be true. This is real. What we can, oh man, and then like that realization of all of the ways that we just were taught or assumed or conclusions we drew about life, about it being one way, and it's not. It doesn't have to be. It's like, oh yeah, that.
I can relate. Like when I was a kid, I was like the one that would get kicked out of Sunday school because I asked all the questions. And so this idea that, often we go I never want to like believe something just because someone said it, because it's so, it's so subjective. And so I think that, questioning everything, and this is not like this like conflict, like a conflict of always questioning or defending or whatever. It's not that sort of energy, but it is this idea of being open to just the new ideas, the new things that are coming, the new experiences, the new awarenesses, and asking those questions. And sometimes those questions, you're right, like you said, some people don't like those questions because it can shake the boat a little bit, because here we are going on our life and we're just living the way we always live based on the answers we've always had. It's very comfortable. And so sometimes when we had those questions like, yeah, but what about that?
Yeah.
Then it can kind of, rock relationships, rock institutions, and, which is a good thing because we're always growing, we're always expanding. And like Ernest Holmes said, I mean, this is this evolution sort of idea. And so as science and minders, we should be like, yeah, bring it on, because that's exactly in alignment with what Ernest said, this evolution, this constant growing, constant transformation. It's not about, this is what we believe and we're going to believe it because we've always believed it. We always did it this way. We're not going to do it any other way because this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think one of the reasons we don't like to have stuff questioned is how much of our identity plays into the answers that we have things, and vice versa, right? Like the answers that we have things for the stuff around us and the way life shows up around us really plays into our identity. So even, even people within science of mind, like that's our identity. The answers we have for life are the science of mind answers, and don't question those either. Right? So, yeah, I think the teaching brings us naturally to that, we naturally progress to the understanding that it is a good thing to question, and it is a good thing to kind of stir things up every once in a while. Mm-hmm. But when we can do it regularly every once in a while, the stirring up is a lot more easy than if we don't stir things up for a really long time and then start stirring it up. You're like, oh, there's a lot to stir. This stirring up has turned into
the bottom. There's a lot.
This stirring up has turned into like full on excavating. That's a whole other situation. But but I think our identity and our desire to have that somewhat solidified way of being really hampers our interest in kind of and asking those questions or even answering them. For sure.
I noticed a strong like parallel right now with just like society at large, with like the Great Resignation. People are questioning, like, is this really it? Is this what I'm doing with my life? Something that I hate, and I'm like putting myself at risk or whatever it is, and trading all my time for money. And maybe there's a different way. Maybe I should be in a job I like, or people are questioning things right now, and that's shaking people up. So there's definitely those people that benefit from the old ways that they were, that are like, don't ask that. Just get back to work, please.
Yeah. My life is really benefiting from the old ways. Please stop. Right? Like,
go punch back in and get out there working, please.
Yeah. Well, and we are at a point where a lot of things have gone ignored for a long time, and other things for a really, really long time. So it does feel like excavating some stuff we maybe don't want to take a look at, for sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever had those times in your life where you felt like you were living in the question mark. Now, I've had some of those times, and honestly, I'm having some of those times right now. And it can be really uncomfortable, especially for people like me that kind of like to know what's going to happen next. And so this question mark, this space of maybe not knowing an answer, or this space of openness to what tomorrow may bring, or even openness, honestly, to what the next hour may bring. And sometimes this can be uncomfortable. So I've been sitting in that space, and actually I've been thinking a lot about this idea of questioning and this idea of curiosity. And what came to me is that maybe the answer is in the question. Now, that may sound counterintuitive and may not make much sense to you, but at least it makes sense in my own mind. And this is how. When I can approach a situation or a circumstance or anything with this idea, this questioning, this beginner's mind sort of energy, then it creates this openness. It creates this expansiveness of space. It maybe breaks down some of these attachments to a particular outcome. So I've noticed if I'm really attached to a particular outcome of like, this is how it's supposed to be, and this is how I know it's supposed to be, and this is how it's going to be, then that's where I'm focused, and that's where all my attention is, and right in this outcome, and I'm going to make that outcome happen no matter what. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's done this. But when we can approach life with this questioning, and this is not an energy of self-doubt or doubting everything that every decision we make, or every interaction, or even overthinking, because I've been prone to that too. But instead, this idea of questioning is this energy of openness, this energy of curiosity, this energy of having a vision for what we want for our lives, having a vision for how we want to show up for life, but then understanding that each and every day we have the ability to be open to what that actually looks like. And often things show up, or our life goes on trajectories and paths that we never thought we would we could never have imagined in our mind. And so this idea of questioning, this idea of living kind of behind the question mark, is this idea of being open to what life brings. Being open to new ways of being open to receiving new ideas, being open to learning from one another, being open to be a little bit flexible. And sometimes that's hard for a lot of us. Well, at least it's hard for me. But can you feel it though? The energy of this openness, the energy of this curiosity, this energy of authenticity creates this expansion, creates this ability to weave in and out of life and the circumstances as they come to us. And so that our outlook is not rigid, it's not fixed, but instead it's moving, evolving, growing. And this leads to this idea of personal transformation that we talk about so much here at Soul Evolution Collaborative. So when we can live in that question mark, then we are open to the field of possibilities. And in the field of possibilities, anything is possible.
At first, I just need to say that the background video, like that's exactly what it's like, right? I mean, that imagery is like we're going in life and we're moving and we're moving and moving, and we're like we start questioning, like we have a question, but we're still moving so fast, and all of a sudden it's like that question goes poof, and we just like stop.
Yeah.
And we're floating, and then all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute, oh my god, oh no. Just like
I think that was like a visual of my brain.
Yeah, that's definitely what it's like. That's probably the most accurate image of questioning life that I've ever seen.
Yeah. A powerful approach. I like I like the idea of really just opening up beginner's mind and seeing, what does this mean?
When I think it is, it's not. It's a more for me. It's like it's the more about the energy of it. It's more that, and we talk about it so often. It's like this questioning. I mean, even what Dan you were talking about, this like questioning everything and really looking at, just looking at beliefs and looking at organizations, looking at structures, looking at relationships, looking at all that stuff. Um, when we do that, it creates this expansion. But when we're so attached to, the answers per se, and finding the answer, then it kind of locks us in and kind of that like really laser focused sort of thing with like blinders on is what I kind of visualize. And so when I can and I do have to be careful in this not to like overanalyze or overthink because I think we all can do that. But
What? No, us?
Yeah,
No.
But I don't know. It's just something about this energy of like, if I'm feeling a certain way, I'm like, what's that about? Or I wonder what that's about. I wonder what that's about. And so it's in the question, like the answer does rise to the surface, and the answer can be areas that I may need to infuse a little bit more principle in, areas where I kind of want to show up change how I show up, interactions that I want to show up differently to. It's like in this questioning, it reveals so much about ourselves. And I think for me, especially in my current time of like questioning and trying to be open, it's revealed so much about who I am. And like that's a good thing. And some areas that I'm like, hey, you know what? I kind of want to maybe strengthen that area, or I really am like rock solid in this area. So it's really interesting. It's this really amazing opportunity to be really intimately connected to ourselves in this idea of questioning, so that our beliefs and our values and everything, that we can live from that space and not live from what we've been told or what we've read per se. Even though all that can factor into that, building those value systems, but to really get really kind of intimately connected with ourselves. I think that's like the fruit of this questioning.
Yeah. I really like you touched on something at some point, kind of to the idea that when we're so laser focused like that we have no idea what else is possible, right?
Yeah.
And I just think that's such an important point, that if we're always trying to do things based on what's been told to us or how things have been done in the past, we never actually do anything new or different, and we don't really actually get to express ourselves, right? We're expressing those who have come before us, and so it's in those moments that I can look back on where I have just kind of, I'm not just like, I don't know, whatever, life can be whatever it wants, I don't know, right? Like I have like a vision,
Right.
but I've been able to let go enough of I think this is how it should go, and just go, this is the big picture, and this is what it feels like. And man, the way that life has shown up in those moments have been things that I never possibly could have even imagined, because there's this faith that there is something working, putting things together better than I could ever have even tried.
Right.
And so I love that point, and I don't think we could stress that enough, that part of being in the question is being open enough to, I probably don't know the best way, like what is the way that's looking to come through me, that's not the way I've been taught, or that's not the way everyone else has done it. Now, I mean, there's times, if you're like cutting vegetables or something, you probably want to cut it the way that works best so you don't cut your fingers off, at least for now, until somebody better than me at chefing, at cutting vegetables, figures out a new way to do it, right? But like, the things that are looking to come through me are the things that, wow, if I just open up, like you said, you just approach, be in the question. The times that I've done that, it's been, I think, literally life-changing.
Well, and we are in football season, and it reminds me of an example of like, sometimes you got to call an audible, and if you're not paying attention and you're not questioning like what you're seeing in front of you, and you're just like, nope, we're going to run this play no matter what, because that's what we already called in the huddle. We're going to run this play, and you step up to the line, and there's a whole different defensive kind of outlook. You're like, oh wait, no, okay, no, we got to change it to this. So it's the same thing with life. There's, obviously we're operating on a vision and how we want to show up and the things that we want to do and the things that bring our passions and our strengths to the surface. But, we do have to not be so fixated on how that necessarily like happens, the step by step. Sometimes we do have to be open to changing the play every once in a while.
I see a good opportunity here to bring in the Brene Brown.
Go for it.
So forward, open, out of the box thinking is how innovation comes about. And she, does the talk where she was supposed to go, talk at some company, and they're like, we don't want you to talk about the vulnerability and courage stuff. We want you to talk, about innovation and forward thinking. And she's like, well, you can't have those things unless you're willing to be vulnerable. And so innovation only comes if we question the way things are done.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we are definitely not finished yet, but thank you so much for hanging with us today. We know that we, in fact, have the best job in the world for us, and we're doing exactly what we are meant to be doing here in this life. And so we just want to take this time to invite you to join us, jump in even further with us, that we have a multitude of ways for you to join in and support. And of course, Tuesday nights, Truth Be Told, this is our weekly video series of inspiration and encouragement and uplifting messaging and just some fun conversation around applying these universal principles to our lives. And so definitely tune in as you are, because you are already watching this. Thursday nights, we have The Gathering, which if you are looking for a little bit more of an intimate setting where you can jump into some conversation with some like-minded individuals on topics such as these, you can join us Thursday nights for that. You can find information to sign up about that at the website, soulevolutioncollaborative.org. And then also Sunday mornings, our somewhat, maybe it's not new at this point anymore, but our somewhat new series, Strip Down Sunday, where we have stripped down the elements of a somewhat more traditional church service, and we are just offering you that very basic message. If you are one with a slightly faster paced life and need that stripped down service, that this is for you. So check that out. And in the very near future, we will be launching a new Sunday evening series. I think I can officially say that now, that we've been working on for quite some time to really figure out how to bring people together virtually and in person at the same time into a real celebration of life that actually works for us and works for you and gets us to that place of that we can only really get to when we are together in some way. So keep an eye out for that. And without further ado, the rest of Truth Be Told.
This week, our theme is question everything. So I've got two questions for us. The first question is more of a practice. It's a contemplation. It's a form of meditation. What I am proposing is to take time to sit down, to close your eyes if that's how you like to be still, whatever you like, and then ask yourself, who am I? And as you do this, we want to draw our attention away from our mind, which is going to generate answer after answer, and we're going to move it down, just focusing as if you're breathing right into the center of your chest. As you breathe in, just observe what comes up. Like, your mind will generate answers as you ask, who am I? And as these answers, these things pop into your head, just let them go. Observe it and go back to the question, who am I? Ultimately, when you're in your heart space, there is no answer. Answers come from this world of duality and of thinking. I want you to get to a place of simply experiencing the stillness. And then maybe you catch a glimpse of who you really are, which is the divine on a deep level. So meditation technique, who am I? And you repeat it as a mantra, you bring it back, your attention to it. Every time your mind wanders in some other direction, bring it back. Who am I? And we're just feeling and observing. It's a powerful meditation technique that many gurus have used. One that comes to mind is Ramana Maharshi. Powerful technique. If you want to learn more about it, look it up. Now, the second question is, what's important? What do you want to see in this world? So as we, one, get to know ourselves, then ask the question of what we want to see, we receive guidance, we receive inspiration. And it also becomes our guiding compass, if you will. Thinking about what you want to see, now you have a kind of a framework to focus all your other choices in life. So as you come up with a difficult choice and you have a direction of what you want to see in the world, then you gauge your choices by that. You have, say, two different options of answers to a challenge or a choice decision that you need to make. Ask yourself, which one is pointing me more in that direction, and which one's going to lead me away from it, or which one's going to lead me more strongly towards that, using that as a guiding compass. Now, whichever answers come up to you, things change, our plans change, but this is an excellent framework to have behind all the decisions that we make. Constantly asking that. The number one thing that we can do as we are trying to create this new world, a new way of being, letting go of the old ways of the past that are crumbling all around us, to embrace and create a new way of being, the number one thing that you can do is get to know yourself. So that's why these techniques are very powerful. That's why personal transformation is the stepping stone, the starting point of creating this new earth that we are moving into. We are kind of in this little bit of a limbo right now. The old ways are dying and crumbling, but they are gripping to hold on, and that is presenting major challenges. And the new way is ready to be there, but it knows it's not quite ready. We're not there yet. So one by one, we are waking up, we're doing our work, and as we do that, the world, the consciousness, the way that people treat each other is shifting. We are moving towards more inclusivity, equity, fairness, kindness, calm, peace, sharing of resources, ending the old ways of hoarding and greed and me kind of mentality. In this new way, moving forward, as you truly connect with who am I, when you connect with that essence and you are leading from there, you can do no wrong. If more people were on that, which we're starting to see, business practices change. Instead of in order for me to win, you have to lose mentality, it's how can I win while allowing you to win at the same time? We are all in this together on this planet, and this is our time, is to move into a new way of being. It's radical. It's 180 degrees away from where we've been heading, but it is the shift that is coming. So do your work, go within and ask, who am I? And then follow that compass with all your decisions moving forward, and we will see this new consciousness on this planet continue to emerge, and it will be amazing.
I love it. Just the whole concept of the simple act of asking questions turning into changing the whole world, right? I mean, like, what a powerful thing, like just asking, like, who do I, who does, like, how many people on a daily basis, like, who am I? No, we know who we are. We're I'm this, and I have this role, and I'm this position, and I'm this job title, and I'm whatever. But yeah, wow, what a crazy thing. Who am I? Who am I?
And it's like this value-based. It's like these value-based questions, and then we can live from those spaces. When we're really, like, yeah, you're right, Emil. It's almost like it's not who am I. It's always like, what do you do?
Right. Yeah.
Where do you live? It's like those sorts of things. But like who am I is more than you know, more than the degrees, more than, you know, your resume. And it's like getting down to that. And when we get really connected to that piece, then you're right. I mean, Chris, that really is like, it is the catalyst for this personal transformation, which we know is a catalyst like for everything. It sets the ball rolling, that motion, that energy, and we can feel it too. I mean, I can feel it. I can feel it in my own life, and I can feel it in the lives of the people, you know, in my sphere. That there's those questionings, those deep questions, you know, and it really, because I think people are, and I know I am. We really are wanting to find those answers, those deeply rooted answers, ingrained, that we can live from those spaces, not live from the spaces of, you know, the initials behind our name or the money in our bank account, because that's exhausting.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us are. I think that way is slowly dwindling in its energy.
Yeah. A little too slow for me. but it's happening. And I love that idea even of, you know, imagine when more and more businesses and companies and business owners start asking that question, not only of themselves, but of their business. You know, who are we?
Mm-hmm.
Who are, like, right? Like, that's, I mean, that's kind of even how we started, right? How Soul Evolution Collaborative started. We started with that idea of, what is our vision? Who are we? What is this as a collective? What is this wanting to be?
Mm-hmm.
And then making decisions out of that. I've actually personally have never experienced that decision making process anywhere else,
Right.
the way we have, and I can't imagine doing it any other way now, right? So imagine business owners and corporations doing that same thing. Like, who are we? Because it's not stakeholders, shareholders, paying, you know, it's not the money. It's never the money, right? We are helping people. We are providing a service. We are uplifting communities, right? Like, that's who we are. That's what we do, right?
Right.
So it'll I have faith that it is picking up speed. The momentum is building.
It is. We're pushing the rock for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing it. You know, just looking at things like conscious investing, and you know that they're changing, like, categories of, you know, ETFs that are now based on this idea, and they're becoming profitable for people, which is, you know, maybe there's a small hope for capitalism yet. I don't know.
Conscious capitalism.
Yeah, exactly. I love the idea, though, of, like, I think we underestimate how much power as an individual we have. And, like, we're beginning to recognize our interconnectivity, how we're all interconnected, and asking, you know, one, getting clear on who I am, and then using that as my compass, making decisions going forth, how the impact, like, that every little decision that we make during the day, you're like, oh, I could pick that up, or forget it. Or I could, you know, go help that person over there that looks like they need help, or forget it. And we discount how much power we have, that those little small decisions in that interconnected web have immense power. And I think we're waking up to that. I think we've been seeing it, you know, especially like through the pandemic, that when one person isn't getting what they need, it breaks down to several others. And when one person gets what they need and, you know, recognized and lifted up, it spreads out to many others. We have, you know, as a collective, we have lots of decisions to make, but it all begins with our own individual decisions.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It is. So thank you very much for being here. We have, like Reverend Dan said, we have the best job in the world. We appreciate all of your support and all the different ways that you show up for us. So thanks for checking this out. Thanks for doing your own individual work and exploration and questioning of everything. So if you would like to get into this a little deeper, join us on Thursday night for the gathering. Go to our website, soulevolutioncollaborative.org, sign up for the gathering. You'll get sent a link to come join us in conversation. It's a really powerful way to deepen your own understanding about yourself. And wow, I mean, what a gift to give to yourself. And ultimately, it's a gift that you're giving to the entire universe, definitely to this world in this day and age. Again, watch out for us on Sundays for Strip Down Sunday. And to stay up to date with everything else, our website is perfect place to sign up. You get newsletters once a week to keep you kind of informed, a wonderful blog from Rev Ryan, and all that we are doing keeps you there. And if you appreciate what we're doing and like to be part of it and supporting it, please consider making financial contribution. On our website, we have a donate button that's easy to click and easy to fill out and set up a recurring or a one-time donation. It is tax deductible, and we appreciate all the support we receive because it is people like you that keep us going. So come check us out again, sign up, see our website, and get involved. This world is an amazing place, but it's happening consciously. And just by watching to this far, you're obviously making that conscious decision. So thank you. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time.
Internet fees?
No, yogurt covered pretzels are